Hey guys, welcome to the Health or High Water podcast. I'm your host, Tripp. I know it's a little bit different, usually just seeing or hearing my voice. Now you guys can see my face and see the guest face of who we're recording. This is our first video podcast with my special guest here and dear friend, the gelatinous one. How's it going, Jelly?
It's going good, man. How you been?
Been good, man. Been good. Been busier than a one-legged man in a butt kicking competition, but we're hanging in there, and I'm really excited to talk to you. So Jelly is an entertainer. He's a podcast host. He shreds some guitar. He made me crack up the first time I met him last October. We've almost been friends for a year at this point. He's got a great podcast. You guys got to go check his out. He has a podcast for the people, by the people, which is awesome because you viewers could technically be guests on his podcast. So really cool premise about him trying to get real community involved and talk about real things on his podcast as well as make you crack up. So Jelly, tell me a little bit about how you got into being funny and comedy. Tell me about your backstory, my man.
Well, I'm from Massachusetts, and being in this area, especially as a young kid, you end up kind of getting bullied a lot. So you end up finding ways to counteract that. And in my case, it was being able to joke around with people to the point where you could just diffuse the situation through conversation or comedy. So you kind of learn how to just be silver-tongued to kind of work your way out of situations.
Right. Well, that's got a lot of us. We at least find humor, right? Is like especially in like kind of dark moments. You get a dark joke or something like that, and it just immediately almost like cleans the room up of all the bad air, for at least for a little bit. It's almost like you can take a breath again.
Yeah.
Um, I was looking at some studies before this podcast about how laughter affects health and wellness, right? And it's really interesting. One of the top things that popped up was lowering cortisol, and everyone on social media right now is talking lower your cortisol, right? It's all over the place. And how do you do that? Is one of the best ways to do that is laughter.
Hmm.
And it says like studies can lower up to like 37% just by laughing. So in those situations and your life growing up, I know growing up in Massachusetts, it's not like hasn't been like the most ideal luxury experience, right? Does living in those kind of areas help with like that darker humor?
Yeah, I mean, because you get put in certain situations just due to your area and the culture around you. The culture around you really shapes who you are and what your take on a certain topic is. If you took people from around the country, like from east to west, north to south, you'd find everybody, if you gave them the same topic, will have a different take on that because they're literally looking through it through their lens. So
That's
there's definitely something to the East Coast comedy, the West Coast comedy, the Midwest, the South.
Well, and you're a musician too. To us, the minor progression sounds dark, right? To like, I think it's like India, Middle East, like that's like their happy noise.
Yeah.
So like, even that's a perspective based with that kind of stuff, and not everyone like you said, gets like the West Coast kind of humor or the East Coast humor. I mean, even take British humor, right? It's a lot drier, those kind of things. It's a little more subtle. So I mean, everyone's got their own kind of flavor, and growing up in an area like yours, it definitely has a darker tone, which I think helps with making people happy. Because if you kind of feel in that lower level there, you're able to kind of dig down and be like, all right, well, I know you're feeling like crap, but this is how let's make fun of it. This is how we can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's no way that I can say for sure that being from this area is any worse than any other area or more of that aspect of it. But it's like kind of like the phrase, if you can ski in New England, you can ski anywhere because we have like the shittiest snow and it's difficult because it's icy and not ideal for the skis. I mean, I'm not saying that we're the worst of anywhere to live, but it's almost like that. Like if you come from an area where you're used to dealing with terrible stuff, you get accustomed to that. So everything else, you're setting the bar low. You can always get over that low bar.
Well, yeah, and you're probably hearing the worst from like school kids, and parents are probably like cursing up a storm and telling like the hardest core jokes, and those kind of things, and you grow from that.
Yeah, especially being bullied from family. That's where you learn most of it.
Oh, and you got to be quick on the comebacks with those too, right?
Yep, and if you fumble it all, you lost.
Yeah, yeah, it's like almost like a double whammy.
Especially being the youngest, I was always just trying to punch up.
Well, I was never good at comebacks because I stutter. I'm like and then it would just lose steam just like that, just like the sentence.
Yep.
So getting into music as well with comedy, those kind of things. Do you notice there's certain like almost rhythm or timing with comedy too?
Oh, definitely. Like even as something as simple as the rule of threes, you know, you give example one, example two, and example three. And you want to do that little pause and accentuate the third one because it's kind of like the little rim shot thing. Didn't almost in a way. But that is also following classic comedy rules, unless if you're going by standard stand up and whatnot, compared to if you're a character comedian or whatnot.
Well, and you technically do a lot of crowd work. So for all the viewers, Jelly gets his viewer or his guest from online. So he's constantly doing crowd work, interviewing people, working with them. Um, where was I going with that? I had a good point. Darn it. Uh, so there's always crowd work going on, right? So there's got to be a rhythm to that crowd work,
Yeah,
right? So like someone said something like you gotta be tightly on it, and people are probably giving you heck on there as well, right?
yeah. I mean, a lot of people are very skeptical, very critical a lot of times. But you always got to think of. I always think of the conversation in a way of like fit. Does what I'm saying fit with the context? Does what I'm saying fit with the timing? Does it fit in general with overall everything? Like you just got to make sure that you're making you got to read the room and make the correct movement accordingly.
Well, 100%, 100%. You gotta like the term "read the room," man. It's
Yep. If they're not
so. Have you?
if they're not
Sorry, go ahead.
liking your racist jokes, you might want to do some family friendly jokes.
Well, well, speaking on healing and those kind of things, have you noticed when you're working and making people laugh, does that help with your anxiety and everything that's going on with you?
Definitely. Like just today, I don't even remember what joke it was, but I ended up seeing a good opportunity to make a work appropriate joke that would actually land, and it did. And I was like, all right, that's good. This guy clearly like that was a real laugh. I could tell that. You can tell when people fake laugh at you. You know, just ha ha yeah. The second they turn around, you see their cheeks drop. You're like, yeah, that's bull pucky.
So you're like actively trying, just joking around with coworkers and stuff like that too. So it's a constant thing,
I try to just because you got to be somewhat PG, especially at work. And
right?
I'm not good at doing clean material, so I'm always trying to really work on any shot I can see to make a clean joke. I try to take that shot.
Well, don't you think like laughter has a direct quality of our or a direct quality of life, like an impact on that? You know what I mean? Like when things are stagnant, you're not really laughing, you're not expressing yourself. I think has a huge impact on the quality of life, and I think as people get older, right, they laugh less, they interact less, and you're seeing that more and more, especially like the senior communities I'm in. You're seeing that a lot less. What are some things that you do, or do you ever play like any practical jokes at work? Do you what's kind of the work life for Jelly for being funny?
Just verbal jokes.
Okay.
I can't say too much about my work because of the NDA stuff, battery manufacturing, but you don't really have a space to do a physical, practical joke.
Yeah, I don't
And
think a battery exploding would be too funny on someone.
yeah, there's not really practical. But, yeah, just making conversation about people, like who's in the room, talking about them, making fun of them, they make fun of you, this and that. You bring up a topic and then you make fun of their point of view on it. kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think laughter is so important of building a community. So like when I'm working with these seniors, like I'm telling terrible jokes that never land, right? Like there's maybe 1 out of 10 might make someone laugh a little bit, but that person hasn't smiled the entire time, you know? And a lot of these communities like, hey, like I haven't seen these people smile in a while, and I think people lose that humor bone, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's almost like if you don't use it, you kind of lose it.
yeah, and I know a lot of like friends that have families and stuff like that that used to just roast people like crazy and just kind of mild manner, not really enjoying life. And once that laughter is gone, it kind of, you know,
Yeah, it's almost like it gets stagnant, kind of.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Um, I
Not,
mean, like when you're cracking jokes and stuff like that with friends, do you notice like just the room kind of getting a little bit brighter too? I mean, like there's something to that, right?
yeah, it's almost like you know how it's really annoying to see like a group of people being loud and enjoying themselves, even though that's weird to think about. Like you're
Yeah,
getting, you're getting pissed off that these people are loud. It's like when you're in that moment, you're having a great time because you're enjoying yourself, you're laughing, you're talking, you're being expressive, you're letting
right.
your emotions out.
You're letting
That's
down that wall.
exactly. You're opening up and expressing your emotions, and that feels good to do that. And that's almost like what joking around with the friends is, because you're just having a good time. Your defenses are down. What is that? Is that serotonin or something? Probably starts flowing.
Yes, one of those tonins, or all, or whatever those kind of things. I mean, we live in, and for all the listeners too, for this podcast, I mean, we live in like one of those stressful times to be alive, right? We have the highest quality of life ever, but it's the most stressful time to be alive because we notifications are going crazy. We can't get away from work. We can't get away from some family. It's hard, right? So laughter is a great way, and there's a bunch of studies on laughter and stress levels. So we kind of tying back to what we just talked about, going back to like, hey, like people are losing their laughter and their quality of life is kind of declining. They need to be adding more things that'll make them laugh. So do you do a lot of comedy shows? Do you? I know you watch a lot of Kill Tony and those kind of things. Do you ever like go out to watch some live stand up?
Yeah, we used to for a while. We're going out to the Comedy Connection in Rhode Island just to watch the showcases. Cheap tickets, you get to see 6, 7 comedians that you've never heard of, and it's a good time.
For people that haven't been to a comedy show, what's it like? Even with someone just no name people that
So if you've never been to a comedy club, expect very tight seating in every one. You're gonna be shoulder to shoulder with strangers most of the time. And some places now they take your phone and put it in a bag, so you can't record comedians because that's like they're.
that's fair though, right? That's fair.
But it's very tight, but it's very enjoyable. After the first minute or two of sitting there kind of uncomfortable, you get over it and you start enjoying yourself because the host or whoever is doing their opener is gonna come out. And then by that time, you might have had a drink or two, probably overpriced.
Well, there's like drink minimums and stuff sometimes, right?
The only place I've went to that had a drink minimum was I don't even remember. It was some hole in the wall comedy place in New York, in Manhattan, and there was a 3 drink minimum. And I was
Three
underage,
drink.
so I had to house some Coca Cola.
Holy hoot, man! Oh my god. Well, I think that's a great place for people like to start. I know there's a little crowd and those kind of things, but it's not like a giant venue. You know what I mean? It's a small, little intimate place where everyone's there to have a good time. I think people need to get the stick out of their rear sometimes and laugh a little bit more, and we need that really bad.
If you're nervous in front of crowds, also, even though you're not going to be on the stage, try not to get there too early because you'll sit up front and you have a chance of being a victim of crowd work, especially if
Yeah,
you look weird.
So don't, yeah. So the audience don't go out look weird, look normal.
Yeah, if you got a wonky tooth or some sort of like crooked neck, don't get there early. Get there late, you'll be in the back in the shade.
So let's talk about your podcast a little bit, man. Let's talk about what your goals are, those kind of things. I know this is a recently new venture for you getting into podcasting, throwing out some episodes, interviewing people. First off, I want to know what's it been like interviewing just everyday people. You know what I mean? Like just your run of the mill people, and to add on to that, what's the excitement on their end?
It's so for the first part, it's very for me it's pretty exciting because I get to find other people that I have no idea what their living situation is, where they're from, who they are, and I get to see a brand new perspective and start like almost trying to look through their eyes in a way and go, damn, this is what you think, this is how your life is, and learn about what they've been through because everybody has a unique story to tell that nobody else can tell but them. Like they say, you could put a bunch of monkeys with a typewriter in, and they'll eventually make Hamlet. I don't think so. You need at least one of those monkeys to interview the other monkeys, and
Gotta
I'm
get the
that monkey
lowdown.
that does that.
So it's got to be pretty special for these for people, just everyday people, getting on something like a podcast and expressing these stories. What's the excitement like on their end?
Some of them, few people. I mean, we only have, I think, maybe a dozen out. I'm still getting lazy on that editing, so sorry everybody who, if they listen to this somehow, it's taken me a while. But some of the people have said it's like it was one of the funnest podcasts they've been on, and they were really entertained and they had a good time. They were like, I was
Cool.
expecting it to be a boring standard like interview of just, oh, what about this question, this question, instead of having the freedom to riff and make jokes, get off topic for a while and bring it back.
Because your whole premise is introducing like trivia and testing common knowledge on people, right?
Honestly, I've reeled that back a bit.
Okay.
I know we did that with the low self-esteem guys. Shout out low self-esteem.
We'll tag you guys in this one.
Um, but yeah, I've reeled that back and just started going more towards learning about the people and seeing again, digging for the gold in the whole soil of their life, basically trying to find what's interesting and that they have a passion about.
Well, there's a few people I want to get back to, but I got to give a quick word to our sponsor, Gene Planet Genetic Testing. I've been using Gene Planet for the past 3 years.
Oh, they're great.
I know, man. They're absolutely fantastic. We've got been doing this for about 3 years. We're able to use their genetic based process to help build individual programs for our clientele, as well as wholesale that to people like HRT clinics, doctors. It's been a very easy tool to integrate into our system, as well as able to use for our clientele. We're able to find things like workouts, nutrition, supplementation, injury risk and prevention, cancer risk, cardiovascular risk. I could keep going on and on. But if you guys are interested in genetic testing, go to geneplanet.com, click on the premium test, and use code APT for 30% off. That's code APT for 30% off. And you'll get a genetic test for $350, and it'll go the entire gamut. If you guys get it, I get you a free genetic consult if you go to www.throughfire.fit. Jelly. So
Wait,
back to
I,
these.
I got something
Yep.
for them. Gene Planet, it runs a gamut. Gene Planet, it runs a gamut.
Dude,
There we go. Free bump there,
millions.
Gene Planet. You owe me at least $80.
81 for my boy.
All right, I'll cut you in.
um, so I do think everyone's got a very unique individual story, and it should be shared, and everyone should be showcased at a certain point in time and whatnot. Are there any people that you have talked to that it kind of impacted their life pretty hard in a good way?
That I impacted their life?
Yeah, like hey, this is a highlight of my week or a highlight of my month. Like this is really cool. I really enjoy this. I want to do more of these kind of things.
I've had a few people say, "Yeah, I want to do another episode," but I wouldn't say it changed anybody's lives. But I hope to at least inject a nice, again, just like I'm learning about them. I'm hoping that they learn about me and another somebody else's take and perspective on life.
That's very, very well put, man. I'm sure you have though. You know what I mean? Like they're going to their friends and family, like, dude, I was on a podcast.
True.
You know, I
They're
mean,
probably they
that's
were
a big
probably
deal for a lot of
excited to
people.
say that they were on a podcast.
Yeah, that's a big deal for people. That's like even someone that's downtown and there's like a car accident. They're right there, like, dude, I was on the news.
Yeah.
It's a huge highlight, you know. And
I saw the whole
you're
thing.
highlighting, huh?
I saw the whole thing. It was crazy. It was crazy, man.
What was that Dane Cook thing? He did a whole thing about like watching a person get hit by cars. Like I always wanted to see someone get by heart but not get hurt, you know. And I saw someone drive by and they're about to get hit, and I was gonna say, "You watch out, there's a car coming," but all that came out was ah. Now, ironically, the car was a Dodge. Um, but yeah, I mean, so you're definitely making an impact on people with that. You know what I mean? That again, like sharing these stories,
Hopefully.
uh, and and laughing during it. Again, like we talked about stress levels, those kind of things. They probably felt good after the podcast. You know, they probably like I feel good. Like the stress levels were down. I got to laugh a little bit. Like they were able to be vulnerable with you, which is something I kind of want to dive into. There's a certain vulnerable. You have to be a certain level of vulnerable to accept comedy, right? Like you can't let things, opinions, those kind of things impact, because it's either everything's funny or nothing's funny.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
whole South Park.
in comedy, it's called joking for a reason, jokes for a reason, comedy for a reason, because it's comedy. It's not serious. We're trying to bring a light into the darkness that is the depression of the world and bad like situations.
100%. You and I see a ton of like just videos of like people getting heckled like hardcore at these comedy shows, comedians that are just like, "Oh, I don't like that joke. Get off the stage." And it's like that's you can't do that.
Yep. I mean that, or even if the comedian's doing crowd work with you, making fun of you, you just roll with it and laugh because it's funny. Even if you're getting like, you shouldn't feel offended by anything he's saying. He's doing jokes. He's not trying to insult you personally. He doesn't know you, or she doesn't know you.
Exactly. And when I think when comedians are pushing that boundary and it hurts a little bit, is because it needs to be said.
Either that, or it hits an insecurity that the person has, and they're not able to let themselves open up and deal with it emotionally.
Well, comedy does do that, doesn't it? Like when if you can make fun of yourself, and like there's things like hey, listen, if some people get made fun of for being overweight or being whatever, right? There's all these different things people get made fun of, and for me, sometimes it makes people change,
Yeah,
right? Like I
once
don't want
you
to be like
learn
this
how
anymore.
to
Well,
take the bullet and just accept it and make it normal. Like, just if you're getting made fun of being called a name, accept that name. If you're being, like you said, being called fat or something, just own it, because if you know you're over, like, a little overweight or whatever, it's fine that you are. It's just, don't give them the power to make fun of you. If you accept it, you're taking their damage away from it.
exactly, and very similar. Like I always had a hard time like putting on size and like being rail thin and all that
Chicken
kind of stuff.
big.
Yeah, 100%. I got called bow legged too back in the day. Um,
Matt
but
Hardy walking at.
but the same kind of thing. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go change it. Like I'm gonna go to the gym and put on some muscle. Like I don't want people to call me rail thin no more. I think that's accepting it, like laughing about, oh yeah, you know what, I am rail thin. I'm a beanpole. I'm gonna change it though.
I was like that, but instead of trying to work out or do anything like that, my metabolism just stopped. So I naturally got fat.
Well, one study too I was checking out it. Comedy and laughter actually help with overall cardiovascular health.
So I might not have a heart attack until I'm at least, 37.
See, there you go. You're protecting your heart.
Got less than a decade, but I'll still be out there running it.
Well, it says it reduces arterial stiffness, so like people that have blockages, those kind of things. So make sure you're laughing for, for health reasons. Um, but Jelly, one of the things I really like to ask towards the end of like, end of the podcast is where do you want to see your comedy, your entertainment going here in the next few years? What's your ideal dream?
Ideal dream is going to be getting a lot more random people that have unique takes on life scheduled for it. Get to the point where I have an editor, so that way I don't have to do that slog of a job. So that way this thing will run like a well-oiled machine, and I just focus on doing the entertainment, writing, quality control, and whatnot. Just trying to
I,
make the content as good as it can be, so the people will enjoy it.
well, so all the listeners out there, if you guys are looking to get out there and you got the talent to edit, be a part of Jelly's team, reach out to him. I'm sure he'll get some internship hours to people for some work. Where can people find you? Let's say they're interested in your podcast, interested in maybe being a guest on your show. Where can they find you?
Well, you can find me at Gelatinous Comedy on YouTube and the Instagram, and at The Gelatinous One on TikTok. You can email me at jellypod420@gmail.com. You can also find we have a Discord server that you can find on there. Just hop on and say what's up if you want, message or whatever how that works. We have an advice line. If you have any problems in your work, life, relationship, doesn't matter. You just got any problems, call that a number. You can leave a voicemail, and I will get back to you and listen to that on the pod and give you my terrible advice.
And
It's
what's that
probably
number?
I don't have it written down, but it will be in the details if you go to at Gelatinous Comedy on Instagram and YouTube.
I'll put in the copy.
Yeah, I'll send you the packet.
Yeah, we'll make the copy look nice for all the listeners and make sure they can be involved with your podcast, get some guest spots going, and maybe get some interns and help you blow your podcast up to the next level, my man.
I do want to take one moment to say something to all the listeners.
Go for it.
No, this is serious. I'm not even doing a joke or a bit here. Sounds like I'm gonna, but I'm not. Take on the chore of appreciating the good in life. Because a lot of people don't focus on the good things. They only focus on what's bothering them. They really just think about what's like affecting them negatively. Instead of that, take on that chore, because it is a chore. You have to work at it. It's tough to do, to appreciate the good things.
Very well said, man. Because if you here's something about that. I was talking to one of the seniors when I was teaching class on Thursday, and we were talking about having bad days, and focusing on that bad and all that kind of stuff. And he was talking about, listen, if you didn't have bad days, you'd have no idea what a good day is,
Yep.
right? So that gives you perspective, like, hey, like, I didn't have the most exciting days. Who cares, man? Like, you know what I mean? It gives you perspective. So, like you said, take on that chore. Take on that chore of like looking at the good.
Well, I mean, you take the good, you take the bad, and there you have the facts of life. Shout out to the facts of life if you're listening. I don't know how a sitcom would listen, but
There's cast and crew. They might. You never know. We got listeners in California and
the show might be
all over the
sentient. I don't
place.
know.
Well, man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and you've been my boy for almost a year now. I want to see utmost success. That was an amazing advice that you give. Really, very sincerely appreciate it. We'll have all of Jelly's copy or backlinks in the copy to this podcast below. Again, this is our first visual podcast, so bear with as we figure this process out. And just thank you guys for being a part of the Health of High Water family. Peace.